Welcome back to Living with a Classic. It is a little cold still, but starting to get sunny. This is a Morris 1300. It's been on the channel for a while as part of my Trading Up series. Found this in the barn and it's been off the road since about 2015. But I booked an inspection time for this thing tomorrow around lunch. It's about 9:30 right now, the day before. So we'll see how this goes. Should be pretty ready. I need to drive it a bit more, make sure no brakes are sticking or anything, put some miles on. I have private roads around here. I can drive this track around here and that should be fine. Double check all the lights again. I fixed everything a couple weeks ago. It's probably 4 weeks ago. It's been sitting here ever since. So we're going to connect up the battery, see if it fires up. You also have a slight oil leak coming from the oil filter housing, seeing if that's gotten worse or not, if we're going to do something about that. Don't really know yet. Step one is to move it out into the sun. I'll let it run for a bit, monitor that leak, and also let it fully warm up, check the coolant system, and all of that. All right, battery's disconnected. That is good, so should still be some juice left in that. If I remember one thing, this hose clamp here, I've tightened all the way to the original clamp, but it still leaks a little bit. So I'm going to go look for a clamp, replace that, and then possibly top up the coolant a little bit. I think the oil level should hopefully be... yeah, it's on the minimum. I won't do anything about that until we fixed the possible leak. We'll check for that. I'm going to grab a wrench so we can put that on. I'll grab another hose clamp and possibly some coolant, and we'll see if this thing fires up. Replace the hose clamp with a good used one, and hasn't been leaking too bad because the radiator is completely full. So it's a little bit tight, this new cap. I'll try, there we go, get that on, and let's go in and see if it fires up. Like I said, 3 or 4 weeks, something like that. We had ice on the windscreen about an hour ago, so it is a little chilly. That was good. I heard the pump click. And let's see. We're close. There we go. Oil pressure. Oh. I'm not hearing the pump at the moment. Now it's pumping. Alright, I'll try again. Charging. Perfect. Let the clutch out. We'll let this thing warm up a little bit. I'm going to move out into the sun. We will put this on maximum heat. We'll let everything warm up a little bit. We do have a bit of fuel, so that's good. And we'll see how it runs after a while. We're going to check on that oil leak as well. Idle's a little low. I'm going to adjust that. Just took it for a brief little drive. It's pretty much up to temperature now. It is, yeah, it's opening up here. I wiped the oil leak clean. One thing, if I use the lifting pin, I think it's running a little rich, also because it should actually be a little lean with the air filter off. I used the lifting pin, let me see here. You see, when I lift it, the idle goes up. So, I'm gonna get a screwdriver. We'll turn down the mixture just a little bit, and should be a little bit better. I will put it on my exhaust gas analyzer as well, just check emissions are fine. We'll check timing as well. But it is running, it's charging around the end of normal. So yeah, things are going pretty well. Just removed the dash pot and had a look inside here. I just wanted to make sure that the jet moves with the choke, and it does. There we go. In my opinion, it doesn't look like it's too low. It looks pretty alright. But at least I want to check that out. I have pulled and cleaned the plugs. I mean, it's been just in and out of the workshop and things like that. They're all black and sooty. A little hot as well, as you see. So what we're going to do is I've cleaned off the other ones. We'll clean up this one as well. I'm having my, my O2 or CO tester is warming up over there. So we'll see what the levels are. If they're not too bad, we might just run it like this. I think it's sitting for a long time. And I haven't touched the carb or anything. I mean, it passed last time, so it shouldn't be too bad. It's just really idle. It feels a little bit, but that could just be the plug. So we'll clean it up, put it all back together, fire it up. If not, we'll make it a tiny bit leaner, but I don't want to go too far, of course. Just raise the idle a tiny bit, and yeah, crazy rich. You can smell it, but it's always nice to double check. So we'll remove that, have it go back to 0, and I'm gonna get a little wrench and we will adjust that a little bit because that is crazy rich. All right, let's take this for a little bit of test drive, see how it drives. This is private roads around here, so not really going to be an issue. I have filled up the fuel tank now with some jerry cans I had, and fuel gauge only goes up to quarter tank, but the tank is full, so that's a little annoying. But yeah, I think when we do the road trip, I will have just a spare little fuel can with me in case something happens, because you can get pretty far with this thing. But I've decided to avoid highways when I go there, so it might be further between fuel stations, about 4-hour drive, but I don't think it's going to use a fuel tank of fuel, but we'll bring some extra. But temperature gauge is just smack in the middle. This thing's been idling for over half an hour today, and a little rattle there here and there, but we are in 4th, doing 30 miles an hour. Last time I drove it, I had a little bit issue with the clutch. It was slipping, it felt like, but that was the arm of the clutch, which is some steel going into aluminum. It had some corrosion there, so I took that apart and I cleaned it and lubricated it, and now that moves freely and the clutch goes back as it should, and it seems to be working well. It says 294 at the end, so 76294 is the mileage. It's in kilometers. So I'll drive a couple rounds around here, and hopefully it all goes as it should, and this thing is just going to get better and better. I just realized one thing. I'm going to turn around. I forgot to bring a fire extinguisher. That's one thing I was going to bring. I like having that. So we're going to turn around up here, grab a fire extinguisher, then I'm going to drive some rounds and I'll update you guys how it goes. We'll go out and field brakes and do all of that, but it does roll well. It rolls down hills and things. I tried that, so it doesn't feel like anything is grabbing or anything, and I'm going to try and use the brakes a bit as well to, make sure everything's fine. But I have flushed out the brake fluid and everything, and nothing seems to be binding or anything at the moment. The parking brake is, when you disengage it, you really need to push it down really far, and there's like one more click, and that's something that I might not have done on a test drive. So there's a lot of things, but grab a fire extinguisher and I'll continue this little test drive. Got a fire extinguisher now, and I felt the brakes. They're all cool except the right rear drum is a little bit warmer to the touch, but we'll see if that just self-clearance or so. I mean, it does roll by itself, so it's not grabby or anything, but that is the side that was a little bit seized on when I picked up the car that was sitting in the barn. But after just a couple small taps on the outside with a hammer, it let loose. So we'll drive now for a bit and we'll see, just make sure it doesn't get any worse. But I'll drive for another 10 minutes or so, and I'll go out and feel it and update you guys how it's going. Otherwise, we might need to just make sure that the parking brake mechanism is going back all the way on there, or something else. I really don't have any parts, so I hope I don't have to. That is a gear shift when you're in 4th. I really hope I don't have to go into anything. I've been up to the blistering speed of 40 miles an hour, and felt pretty good. But this does not feel like a highway car. It's quite revvy, so I'm glad I'm doing avoid highways, even though it will take almost twice as long to get there. It's about the same distance, but just slower speed, and I think that will be perfect for this little car. Let me see, we've done about 7 kilometers. And let me see, that caliper is cold. So is that one. This one sounds hot. Something's vibrating in the back. I don't really know what it is. Might be a license plate. Oh, we gotta figure that out. That drum is cool. This one is slightly warm to the touch. So I think I'm gonna do some braking with the rears. Just do some braking reverse. Otherwise, when we come back, we'll just check there's a parking brake cable going. Sort of lever on each side. It's just vibrating stuff. Ah, that's it. I'm gonna put the spare tire back in. That'll be fine. All right, good. But yeah, it's really fun to drive. Don't want to drive very fast though, but it is a joy to drive. Lots of torque. You can stay in fourth for a long time. But yeah, I haven't really been up to any speed, which I don't think I would like to either. All right, next day here and about to head off. Hope it all goes well. I've driven it a little bit more. That right rear brake doesn't really feel to get hot anymore. I think it's sort of self-clearing. I also lubricated just the parking brake mechanism a little bit. I've checked the lights, checked the windshield wipers, the washer, all of that. So this will be the first a little bit longer drive, and hopefully it all goes well. Sometimes I'm able to film at the station. It sort of depends who it is. Also don't really want to disturb them if they're really busy. If I'm just there alone. But on a Friday, probably not. But it's about a 20-minute drive there, and fingers crossed this goes really well, because this would be the last time for this. Then it's MOT or inspection exempt, even though I do still recommend that you go every other year just to get it checked. But it would be really nice to have that on paper that it is good to go. All right, after the results, I just drove over here, and it's not perfect, but it's just one thing. So rear brakes. Nothing really happens on the hydraulic bit. Parking brake works just fine. So something is going on. I guess there's no fluid is getting back there. So I'm gonna try and bleed and see that. There's a little distribution block and things we saw. I don't know. But front brakes really good. Perfectly even. Back brakes really nothing at all. Other than that, everything else is working fine. No rust, no nothing. But I do need to come back for that. So that is a little bit of a bummer. Otherwise, it would have been a perfect score, but it runs nicely, it drives nicely, it drove nicely on the way here. Had the heater on, that works nicely. Oh, time to drive it back home. Hopefully the whole brake issue is not that bad. Driving here in this small little city, it is, which is near to me, it is absolutely perfect for that. It is a small little city car, this thing, in my opinion. It is just cute and small. And yeah, the inspection guy, he really liked it. He thought this was such a neat and cool little car. He thought it was, he was like, I'm falling in love with this thing. He really liked this. I mean, if I didn't have it sold already, I could have probably sold it to him. He really fell for it. Anyways, I think it is a result. In the first time in almost 10 years, this thing is almost legally back on the road. I could technically drive it for 30 days, but I want to try and fix this as soon as possible. It's the weekend coming up now. I'm going to see if I can try. I'm going to start by soaking down all the bleeders and everything. Make sure that's fine. And all the lines, and then just see where I'm getting fluid and where I'm losing fluid. I don't think it's a rubber line, because usually if they swell, they will let fluid through, but then the brakes will stick on and just nothing's happening. So we'll have to see what that is. Anyways, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with friends. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. It really does help out a lot. Until next time, my man, this was Living with a Classic. I'll see you soon.